Hello everyone, welcome back to another Watchin. Today I'm going to do a follow-up review on one of the watches from that lot of vintage watches I bought. So this was the vintage Timex that was in that lot. And the bad part is I actually really kind of like the look of this one. I was planning on changing out the band because it has gold. You know, obviously the person I got it from just threw a cheap band on it. Problem is, it doesn't want to wind anymore. This is a mechanical wind, and we'll take a look at the movement and see if I'll show you what I think is going on. This one did run when I first got it, and so, you know, I believe whatever happened to it was partially my fault, I guess. So we'll take a look. It's getting frustrating trying to date some of these older watches. So if any of you guys are out there are Timex guys and can help me out, you know, a lot of the Timex forums say there will be a serial number down here. I didn't see one. Now you go to the back, the case here, and we have US time, right? And then this serial number here. Now, some of the forums I saw said these last digits are going to be the year. So it's quite possible that this is from 1975. I really liked the look of the dial. You know, I thought this was one I was actually going to wear a little bit, even though if you notice it's got some corrosion. Unfortunately, yeah, my Timex, I guess, took a licking and didn't keep on ticking. But let's take a look at a couple things. So it's funny because I said I was possibly going to try and get a scale to start weighing things a little bit and get a little bit better idea on the weight. And this one is super light, and I don't know if that actually shows through on the camera, unfortunately. Less than an ounce, super lightweight watch. And let's take a look. Let's take a couple measurements here. So this one, oops, with the crown is about 35.5 millimeters, which I like that size for a vintage. Lug to lug, looking at 41.2. And the band is about an 18 millimeter band on that one. So it's a decent size for a vintage watch. A lot are really small. Now, this one has on a press-on case back. Let me actually, I was going to grab my watch holder, but this one's been on and off a few times. So you actually end up needing more like almost like a really thin screwdriver type blade to pop some of these open. So here's the movement. Now I believe this was a model 22 movement from them, from what I've seen from pictures, and because of the date range I think the watch actually is. I believe this is a model 22 mechanical manual wind. But if you look, let's see if I can get it. If you see in those two holes, you can see these two holes here. You can actually see the spring in there, and it is wound as tight as could be. So my guess is that one is overwound, and that's why it's not running anymore. Now, compared to a lot of the other manual wind movements on some of the other vintage watches I've seen, this one's a little bit different. I would say it's not as well manufactured as some of the other ones that in some of my other watches, and we'll probably I have a couple, 2 or 3 more vintage watches to go through, so we'll get to see some of those other movements. I think the last one I did had a really nice manual wind mechanical movement. Now you do want to be careful when you're pulling off the case backs. If you look, there is a specific spot for the stem. So it needs to go back on there. There's an O-ring on there, but it's been long since blown out, I would guess. Now, on this watch, just because it's been opened up so many times, I think I can just pop it back in, which I can. Some of them you might not want to pop off unless you have a press to be able to press those back on. But yeah, that one went right back into place. Yeah, I'm a little bummed because I actually kind of wanted to wear this one. I liked the dial design on it. Overall, a pretty cool watch. It has a, you know, like a celluloid or a plastic crystal on it. But unfortunately, it's not running. And if any of you guys are Timex guys out there, I'd love to know if I dated that one correctly and found the correct movement. I just noticed the minute hand is flopping around a little bit, so maybe there's more going on, or maybe that's just because that movement is wound up that tight to the point something else snapped. So unfortunately, this one is a non-runner, and it'll be a display one with the rest of my vintage watches. But all right, as always guys, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe.